Okay, and then Greg asked, this one's missing lines. Hi, Dave. What did he ask?
Hi, Dave. I was wondering if you'd read Chester Brown's Mary Wept Over the Feet of Jesus, and if so, whether you had any thoughts on it that you'd like to or be willing to share. Kind regards, Greg Shantz.
No, I didn't. I didn't even know that it existed. That's the Synoptic Jesus. The Johannine Jesus also has a connection with Mary. I don't want to talk about that until I get to that part in the Monday reports, and that's in John 12, and John 12 and 13 are connected in a way that I think people have overlooked, and is another one of those only Dave Sim believes this thing. Is this like a graphic narrative that Chester did?
I don't know. This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Can you Google search that one while you're sitting there and find out what?
It's a novel, according to this.
A novel, not a graphic novel.
No. Yeah, Google got me. Google says it's a novel, but when you click on the link, it says it's a graphic novel. Published in 2016. The book is subtitled Prostitution and Religious Obedience in the Bible, and is made up of adaptations of stories from the Bible that Brown believes promote pro-prostitution attitudes among early Christians.
Okay. No, I saw in one of the used bookstores downtown, Second Look, Chester's paying for it, and I went, it's okay. It's used. Do I want to buy it? Do I want to read it? And I went, no, not particularly. This one, I am kind of curious about it because Chester has always been, definitely has had interesting commentaries on the Synoptic Jesus. He's never gone near John's Gospel, so to me he's talking about one Jesus, and my interest is in another Jesus. But it would be interesting to read the graphic novel, which I assume is extensively footnoted, that this is what...
Here's the description of the content. As in his previous graphic novel, Paying for It, 2011, Brown takes a pro-prostitution stance in Mary Wept Over the Feet of Jesus. He claims that his research has determined that Mary, mother of Jesus, was a prostitute, that early Christians practiced prostitution, and that Jesus' parable of the talents should be read in a pro-prostitution light. Brown describes himself as a Christian who is, quote, not at all concerned with imposing moral values or religious laws on others, unquote, and believes that biblical figures such as Abel and Job find favor with God because they oppose his will or challenge him in some way. Brown adapts the stories or portions of stories of Cain and Abel, Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, Bathsheba, Mary, mother of Jesus, the parable of the talents, Mary of Bethany, Matthew, and the parable of the prodigal son. Handwritten appendices make up the final third of the book, including commentary on the comics, a 55-title bibliography, and a 20-page comics adaptation of the Book of Job.
Okay. That's another one of those. I wish everybody the best of luck on Judgment Day, without exception, and that includes Chester Brown. I don't know Chester the way God knows Chester, and God knows Chester better than Chester knows Chester. So a lot hinges on what is the criteria, and if you honestly developed a belief system around Scripture, but you read Scripture extensively, then does that count towards your final grade, kind of thing? That it's you're a flawed human being. You have a pretty rudimentary brain relative to the super intelligences in the universe, and certainly relative to God. So the fact that you devoted this much time and energy to this, that counts for a lot. I would be troubled in Chester's situation with, this sounds like rationalization. This is, I don't want to confront prostitution head on, so this is how I'm going to rationalize it by basically over-intellectualizing something that I personally consider completely loathsome. It just, having lunch with Chester back when we were having lunch, and it was, you can't really believe that prostitution is okay. And it's like, yes, I do. And it's like, I could tell that, Chester is definitely one of the least guile-filled people that I have ever known. So if he's telling you that he believes something, he does actually believe it. He doesn't, I can think of no instances where Chester would purport to believe something in order to achieve something on his own, for his own benefit. So I always had to take him at face value. And it's like, I just can't go along with that personally. It's one of those, if I believed as you did that there's nothing wrong with it, it would certainly be a great form of entertainment for somebody who is not particularly social, which most comic book artists and writers aren't. But it's, I just, it as the Muslims call it, a squirm. It's something that makes you squirm because God put squirm in you relative to these things. So I didn't know that the book existed. If there was a graphic novel that I was going to be buying to read, I could certainly see having an interest in that. The same as I was always interested in the number of pages of Matthew's Gospel and Mark's Gospel that Chester had adapted, which I was always advocating, just take the text right out of the interlinear. This is what it actually says, and put it in Greek characters and footnote it with the interlinear English translation, and there you go. There's as close as you can get to the Gospels. But Chester always paraphrased, so I would read it and I'd go, that's an interesting paraphrase, but I don't think that's what the text says. But that is what Chester reads in this passage in Matthew. I always thought his Matthew Jesus definitely looked like the synoptic Jesus to me, like 9 miles of bad road, and seriously steamed all the time, and particularly with the disciples. So I always gave him high marks on that. I can't read any of Matthew, Mark, or Luke in the interlinear without picturing Chester Brown's Jesus.
Didn't you, at one point as an exercise, take the art from one of his adaptations and then redo the word balloons with the interlinear?
I tried to, and I got. I think I was doing John's Gospel, but I was using images from Matthew. I found those. Those were actually out back at Camp David with a lot of the tracing paper from Glamourpuss and from Judenhaus. I'll see about pulling out a couple of examples of that. I thought it was pretty good. That was one of the things that I suggested to Steve Peters when he was using excerpts from from the Gospels and saying, "Why don't you letter the Greek characters and then footnote it with your English translation?" And he said, "That's for Spartacus." And he said, "Not this time, but maybe next time on something that's exclusively a Christian work that he would be doing."